Hey, this is Haley.
This is Heather.
This is the first episode of Dunnit Sisters. I almost forgot that name again. Dunnit Sisters. So our first one's going to be on Donny Herron, who I know personally. He's was a friend of my stepson's, and it was a murder that happened in Grandview, June 6th, 2016. So it's coming up on the 6-year anniversary. And his mother, Corrine, invited us in to her living room and is answering questions and letting you know actually who Donny is and telling you the whole story of what occurred that early morning, June 6th. Okay, so tell us who was Donny?
Well, Donny was my son, my third born. He was 25 years old, had gone to college. He was backup quarterback at Missouri Western. He stopped, he quit school because he had a baby and he wanted to come home and take care of his baby and his family. So he did that. Loved his family, loved his little boy. He worked, he loved cooking. He was just a great guy to me. I'm sorry he's my son, but
No, he was. I remember him polite as could be. Quiet, at least for me. But then
yeah,
no.
right. Yeah, and then him and his fiance went on a cruise with 2 other couples, friends of theirs, to the Bahamas. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to talk to him about his cruise because when they returned home on June 5th. It was late in the evening. His dad picked him up from the airport, went and picked up their son, and went home. I'm sure totally exhausted. One of Donny's friends, Tyler Gatewood, was in town from California, so Donny left the house, left Santana and the baby at home, and went to pick up Tyler to hang out with him and brought him back to the house. So Santana is woken up by 3 men in the house holding her and then their under 2-year-old son at gunpoint.
Who was in bed with her at the time?
Yes, they were sleeping.
Yeah.
She didn't hear him come in the house. They're, telling her, Miss Lady, we're not going to hurt you. And they're looking for drugs. They're looking for money. They're looking at a mattress. They're going through drawers. So then they asked her to call Donny and told her, don't give him any idea what's going on. So she calls and he says, okay, I'm about to pull up. And so Donny pulls up and everybody gets quiet, the guys get quiet. Donny comes in the house and he's got McDonald's food with him. Him and Tyler come in. And he sees these guys in the house and he's like, what the fuck are you doing in my house? And he starts fighting.
Did Tyler ever mention that they had any clue that something was going on before walking into the house?
No.
Nothing?
No.
They had
No
okay.
clue at all. Came in the house normal. So Donny starts fighting, which Donny will fight.
Right.
He will, he wasn't a bully, but don't mess with his family. Don't mess with him. He was protecting his family. Him and Tyler were fighting the guys. Donny would not stop fighting. They shot him. Shot him once in his ankle. Shot him once in his thigh. And they shot him in his chest. And that's when Donnie stopped fighting. And the guys, they took PlayStation, games, controllers.
Were they still rifling after he shot him, or were they rifled?
I think they had stacked up things before Donnie got in the house. I could be wrong. They took a leather backpack with other souvenirs and pictures from their cruise.
And that's, they thought
they were
had stuff in it.
Yeah, had drugs or something in it. Donnie, yes, he sold a little bit of weed. They thought he had more than they had. I mean, they lived day to day just like everybody else. And they had just come back from a cruise. They had nothing. You know, the guys had talked about making Donnie go to the ATM and take money out. I don't think that would have went over real well.
So they didn't know that where he was going. They didn't know that he was going to come home with drugs then?
I don't know. Because he did. So the guys took his stuff, PlayStation and things like that, and they left. One of them said, okay, we got to get out of here. They took their cell phones. They both had iPhones. They took those. So Donnie gets up after the guys leave, and he manages to make his way into the bedroom to check on Santana and Major. And paramedics come, take him to the hospital. I get a phone call, and I'm working third shift. My phone rings about 3 a.m. in the morning, and I didn't recognize the number. And it was Santana. And she said, Donnie's been shot. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, what happened? She said somebody broke in the house and they shot him. I mean, just never in a million years. Never would I imagine this happening to him, because that's not who he was. You know, he didn't live that type of life. He, I don't know. So anyway, my sister and I rushed to the hospital. His dad and his girlfriend rushed to the hospital, and a couple hours later, they come out. Doctor comes out and he shakes his head. He said, we couldn't save him. The bullet to his chest just severed all of his arteries, and he just bled out. 3 people involved. Somebody knows who killed my son. And here we are, almost 6 years to the day, and no justice.
So before we recorded this podcast, we spoke with Santana, who is or was Donnie's girlfriend at the time. And she did go back over a few things, that there were 3 masked men that she was first able to see when she woke up, and they both probably seemed surprised to see each other. And that the rest of the time she had to keep her head down, and she held her baby. They asked her some questions about where everything was. They were looking for, I don't know, a specific thing. And that she kept saying that her boyfriend had it, her, hoping that they would just go away. So that's when they asked her to call him, and that's when everything occurred. Everything went down like Corrine said.
What kind of coward pulls a gun on a young mom and a baby?
Apparently huge. I mean,
I'm wondering if that guy's street name's Little Peepee. Sorry.
Oh, Santana did mention that the quote that Donnie said was, when the responding officer arrived, he was able to ask him, do you know who it was? And he, quote, said that was that N-word B up the street, because they had some type of situation at some point. Apparently they didn't get along. He used to live across the street or near from them at that point in time. And
Well, I just what I got out of the interview with Corrine was how upsetting, how frustrated she is with the Grandview Police Department's investigation.
that's right, because when they first got on scene, like I said, a certain officer asked if videos or photos should be taken before the medics came in, and he was told it was not needed, as well as to follow along in the ambulance to ask questions, because he was, like I said, he was coherent. I mean, he was able to go back after being shot 3 times, go back down the hallway and see how Santana and his baby was.
That's a hero.
So, yeah, so there was a lot of time that he could have answered some questions, and that never happened. So not only was the scene not correctly secured, not that I'm a detective.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are you telling me that a police officer didn't go with Donnie on the way to the hospital to ask him any questions?
Mm-mm. He was told that it was not needed by his superior, who I was also told that was his first murder case. So there
Well,
have
yay
been mistakes
for us.
that happened,
Wow.
and you can't go back and change any of that.
Now, I think Corrine also mentioned the phones, that they had taken the phones.
They did. They took all their phones
okay.
so that Santana asked Tyler to go across the street to their friends and said, hey, will you call
Okay.
911?
Uh-huh.
Because apparently no one heard anything. No one heard the shots that happened. So that's the story. No one heard anything.
So the phones, did they find the phones?
They didn't find the phones. They did ping them, and they went north.
North on 71?
Yes, they went further north. And then
So
they
little
died.
Pee-Pee headed north on 71. Good to know.
Yes.
Yes. Let's talk about the whodunits. There's an ex-Missouri Western football player who had visited Donnie prior to his murder. And come to find out that this football player would case places, and then later on his cousin would come back and rob it. So there's a theory that this is what happened in this case, so that the cousin is, in fact, Little Pee-Pee.
Little Pee-Pee.
Yeah.
Where'd you come up with that anyway?
I just think it's his street name until we find out who this guy is. I'm gonna call him Little Pee-Pee.
So what would my name be? If my street name?
Lawn Shenanigans.
What the hell?
Lawn
Okay.
Shenanigans. So who's your whodunit?
Did you say who you thought? You said.
I think it's possible. I'm leaning towards B.
Okay. Same here, because I mean I don't have anything else at this moment in time.
The Declaration.
Yeah.
Donnie's words.
Yeah. Same here. So. Yes.
Yes.
Now,
Okay.
there is a reward out, and I was still trying to verify, and hopefully I can get that straightened out, and it'll be on our website. I know it's more than $3,500, but I'm not quite sure how much it is. So if you have a tip that could break this case wide open, call 816-474-TIPS, TIPS.
TIPS. 1P.
You can get that reward. So, but we will verify how much that is. You can also remain anonymous. You can go to We Are His Voice, which is a site that I set up. I want it to be a, what do you call those? Nonprofit. I want it to be a nonprofit, but I haven't set it up yet. So hopefully I can set that up. But you can go to We Are His Voice. It has more information on there, and it has me obviously trying to pick on B, whoever the hell that is.
And
Well,
Little
I'm
Pee-Pee.
sorry, we do know who the hell that is. But so We Are His Voice. You can get on our website at
Whodunit?
who are we? Whodunit
Sisters.
You want to say Whodunit Girls? Whodunit Sisters. So yeah. get on there and any small tip. It could, They stole a black leather bag with souvenirs on it. In it, not on it. Weird, they would know that it was. Sorry, serious. There's going to be Bahama souvenirs in there. So
Bahama snow globes.
Yeah, so
they happen.
Did you
They're
receive, like June 7th, June 8th, a weird Bahama souvenir that was given to you? Or, did you happen to see in the area a black leather backpack in a ditch? I don't know. It could be real small, but you just don't know. It could crack it open. So
this family's been waiting 6 years. Major he lost his father. Corrine lost her son. She's feeling hopeless. Corrine's a strong woman.
Mm-hmm.
I was honored to meet her. We need to help that family, because
during a murder case or anything in general, the biggest advocate are people's families, because they can keep the cases going. That's the only one who wants to keep the cases going. So
it's the family.
Yeah, they're the only ones interested in it. So that's what we're doing, trying to raise awareness, trying to bring it up. So if you have a case that you want us to cover, let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And our next episode is going to be about what, Heaven?
Loy Ebbets. Missing person Loy Ebbets. She's one of the oldest missing persons cases from Kansas City. So please subscribe to our channel. Thank you for listening to our podcast and watching us and listening to us. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.